we got revealed the DLC for Season 1 after the game's release because of some leaks, which sucks. But on the plus side, that means we know what characters are coming for the next forthcoming year, which there's four of them. We got Ed, Aki, Rashid, and Akuma. Rashid and Akuma were both characters that I really wanted to see in Street Fighter 6. So, they're not on this list. Instead, I got a list of characters, top 10. There's also one honorable mention. I'll mention that before the list starts. But I got a top 10 list of characters I want to see as DLC in the upcoming Street Fighter 6 season passes, packs, whatever you want to call them. The order on this matters somewhere around 6. When it gets to number 6 onwards, it's pretty important. But from there, Street Fighter's had a lot of characters that are kind of like hit or miss. For multiple reasons. Sometimes it's story related, other times it's design related. A lot of times it can be like gameplay. Some of these characters, you guys might not agree with my list because they might give some people some bad memories on gameplay. I'm gonna kind of explain as much as I can with number 6 up to 1 because there's more detail as to why. But I'll try to make it quick with the first few. First off, I'm just gonna get an honorable mention out of the way. I tried to avoid these characters, but the honorable mention for this one is Alex. The only reason he's an honorable mention is because I don't think they should bring Alex back ever. I think Alex was obviously an attempt at making a new Ryu. That's what Luke is now. And he failed. It didn't work. Nothing against Alex. He didn't work. And there wasn't really anything to his character. There was nothing to him. Well, not nothing. That's a little harsh. But there wasn't a lot to him. And it didn't work. So there's no reason for him to show up. It would be really weird if Alex, whose whole character was for him to replace Ryu, shows up in a game where there's another character, Luke, who's also supposed to replace Ryu, when Ryu is still in the game. It just doesn't. It's a waste of space, and it would be the worst case scenario. Honestly, not the worst case scenario, but there's way worse characters. Now I'm not even gonna mention Rufus is one. All right, but you can guess like others, like that would just be definitely worst case scenarios. But like I said, it's just not. It doesn't make sense. So he's an honorable mention because I like his character kind of. I know I just said that he doesn't do a whole lot, but like he's kind of cool. He looks fierce. But anyways, I just wanted to give him honorable mention to show some respect that it wasn't a terrible attempt. Okay, maybe it wasn't the best attempt, but again, whatever. But that's an honorable mention. All right, let's start with the list. Number 10. Number 10 is a little weird. I like this character a lot. He doesn't have a lot to do with the story when he showed up, and he's definitely one of those characters that didn't vibe with a lot of people, but I like him a lot just because of the way he plays. Especially, I think, in this game, Street Fighter 6 seems really cool for characters like grapplers. It just, with the way drive works and everything, I think grapplers will have fun in Street Fighter 6. So you may see some of them. So number 10 is Hakan. Hakan is number 10 because I like his design. I know it's not for everybody, but I like it. I like the oil thing, and the way he fought was cool. It was goofy, but it was cool. I think he would look really cool in high res where you get to see more of that oil work and everything. I think he would look much more fluid, a little less weird. It'd still be goofy, that's for sure, but I don't know. I think he looked really cool, but he's number 10 just because story-wise it wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Another reason why he's definitely on the list, though, and he's number 10, is because he actually helps with Honda. He helps Honda's relationship a little bit. He gave him being Honda's best friend and like the backstories and the dynamic between them fleshed out Honda's character a little bit. So it'd be cool if you got to see him in the game. Mostly it's for gameplay and design. I like his gameplay first and foremost. Design wise, he's cool. He's cool. Number 9. This one is more story. Design is cool. Gameplay, not really. I'm not really excited for this character on gameplay. But I got Rose on number 9. Okay, Rose, she's one of those characters where a lot of, she has a big fan base, probably because of visual reasons. She's a nice looking character. Story purposes, there is some cliffhanger stuff that we do need to address, some loose ends with her seeing the end of the world, whatever. That's kind of important. I'm just gonna say right now, Minot is not on the list. All right, if you're gonna rage at that, do it now. Minot is not on the list. I just want to say that now because Rose is here. I decided to put Rose in here. I just want to make it very clear. Minot is better at playing, like in terms of gameplay, looks more fun and probably feels more fun. I never got to try them, but probably looks more fun and probably is more fun. Minot is more fun than Rose, but in story significance, I got Rose on here instead of Minot. If you really want to be nitpicky, I guess I'd put Minot at number 11. But I don't see a purpose for her in the story. I see a purpose for Rose in the story. So that's why I feel like Rose would make sense for number 9. Not a huge deal. All right, number 8, kind of same deal. I like the design and the gameplay. Story-wise, makes no sense, to be honest, because it was kind of like a failed attempt at doing something cool, and then it didn't work. But well, didn't work is maybe a strong thing. I think people still like this character, but Sea Viper. I got Crimson Viper on number 8. I like her design. I like the idea of using these weapons and electrocution, the different traps and stuff. It's a cool play style, and I think she'd be fun. I don't know if it would make sense story-wise. Maybe she can help with Ken's stuff. Ken's going through some stuff politically, governmentally. He's low-key. Maybe Sea Viper can help, with the whole thing. Maybe she's trying to get deets on him, help him out at a price or whatever. Plus, she's also a parent, so maybe she can sympathize with Ken Masters, possibly. There could be a dynamic there. There is an excuse for her to be there, maybe. Is it a good enough excuse to put her higher on the list? No. It's not. So I got her at number 8, mostly because of gameplay and design. And she was one of the characters from Street Fighter 4 that I really liked, that I would have liked to see, in Street Fighter 5, maybe. Am I sad she wasn't in it? Not really. I don't really. Well, I'm a little sad, but it's not like the end of the world. And then number 7 is a fan favorite for some people. It's or actually for some other people, they still don't like this character. But I got Dan at number 7. I know for some people he should be higher on the list. I had him higher on the list, but after I thought about it, this is my list, right? It's subjective. Guys, I'm going to be honest. Do we really need Dan in Street Fighter 6? I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't, 100%. But I definitely would be mad if they decided to not include anyone from my top 6, but they included Dan, if that makes sense. Once you see my top 6, you'll understand that they're not necessary characters. They don't have to be in the game. But if Dan was included and these guys weren't, I would be pissed. So, I mean, that's just how I looked at it. I was like, I feel like I've put him too high here. I like Dan. I don't know if he 100% fits in Street Fighter 6, as in, like, he does. He can. Of course he can. I'm not saying he like, it's like water and oil. Like, no. He can fit in there, sure. But compared to some of the other characters on this list, there are others that I'm like, I look at Street Fighter 6 design and I'm like, this character has to be in the game. Has to be. So I have to keep Dan at 7 just because the rest, I'm like, the way the story goes and the way the design of the gameplay and all that stuff, like Drive, how it looks, the urban style and all that stuff, the direction they're taking with, like, even the music, I'm like, these characters have to fit in. That might give you a little insight as to who might be on the list. Number 6, this one's interesting that I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of people mention her. Maybe it might have something to do with how she played in the game in Street Fighter when she was around, and that's Elena. I don't think people have really fond memories of Elena because of the way she functioned with her healing and stuff. I'm not saying bring the healing back. By all means, Capcom, please balance this character as much as you can, but the long limb, the Africa design aesthetic and all that stuff. I mean, if you go like, I watched someone who did this, and they were going into it and they were like, you know what, Elena for Capcom, not Capcom, well, yes, Capcom, but Street Fighter 6 would make sense in terms of her music if they went with like an Afro beats, since they're going in that beat route. And I actually agree with that. I think that would be sick, especially, they said, because Afro beats does have a relevancy currently, so it'd be this sounds really cringy. It'd be with the times, you know. It'd be with the current times. It'd be pretty relevant. It'd be topical. But mostly it's because of just design. Story wise, I mean, I don't know, just fit her in there. It's just an excuse. But actual gameplay and design, I think she suits Street Fighter 6 a lot. Not as much as some of the other characters up on the list. But this is as high as I could take her, and I'd really like to see her. If I don't see her, am I going to be really sad? I would say it's a missed opportunity. Personally, I'd say it's a missed opportunity, especially with a character that you could bring back when you didn't have her in 5. I'm pretty sure. She was only in 4. Not only in 4, sorry, but last time she was in 4. That was the most recent. I'm pretty sure she wasn't in 5. So, I mean, if you bring her back in 6, you could redeem the whole thing that happened in 4. I just think it'd be cool. But, I mean, it's personally, I'd say it's a missed opportunity. But if the other characters up on this list, like 5 and above, showed up instead, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not complaining. Speaking of which, number 5, I don't know how people are going to react to this, because I think a lot of people are on board with this, but I think if we really look at it, this is really open-ended, and it's hard to tell what they would do with this character if they actually put him in Street Fighter 6, because it's been a few years. And the last time we saw him technically was in the past before when he was introduced, but that's Sean. So Sean from Third Strike, we did see him in Street Fighter 5 when he was younger, because 5 happened before 3 in the timeline. So, but we're talking about Sean after 3, so he would have the basketball and all that stuff and all that moveset. I'm not saying you have to keep it, but I mean the basketball is, it's a funny touch. If you want to have it as a taunt, that'd be cool. But yeah, it's just it's one of those things that I think because of the way Ken is right now, it would be really sick. Also, I think styling wise, based on his attitude and everything, it would actually work if he fit in Street Fighter 6. Okay. I was thinking about this before I made this list. Is Sean low-key not just like... Does he not look like... If you just looked at Sean, right? Is he not fitting like what you would imagine the main character being in Street Fighter 6? Like our character, the Avatar, right? Like, assuming it's a dude. Like, wouldn't it just make sense for it to just be like Sean? They 100% would be almost exactly like Sean. Like, really wanting to be like Ken Masters or Ryu or whatever, like one of those big master fighters, right? But not that great, like not at their level, but trying their best. You know what I mean? And probably not succeeding, but compromising to be at least okay at fighting. Sean was probably the worst, from what I hear, he was the worst character in Third Strike to play. Like he was not like the least enjoyable, but he just wasn't good. Which made sense for the story. Like story-wise, it made sense he wasn't great. But a same thing with like the Dan situation, where it's like, okay, the character may not be great, even canonically, but there's some cool things about them that makes them fit in the story and actually makes you want to see them again. That's why I want to see Sean again, but I would like to see, that's why I'm saying it's broad. It's not very specific as to what they would do, because there's been years after Sean, and it would be really sick to see if Sean's gone better. I hope, fingers crossed. Capcom, if you bring him back, you gotta make him better. Come on, man. He's been training. he's been getting better. He's gotten some experience. I also think it'd be really cool because I think Sean at the timeline would be close. I think he would still be younger than Luke. I think Luke was older than him in 5 when Luke showed up. So that would mean Luke is still older than him, especially since I think Luke is close to 30. And when we saw Sean in Third Strike, he would have been like 21, 22. I'm making these numbers up, but I'm basing them on 5. On 5, I would say Luke was older than Sean, personally, because Sean looked really young in 5 compared to, like, Sean looked like he might have been like 15, 14. Luke looked like he might have been like 18, like just barely older, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean it'd be cool dynamic if maybe you fit him in the story. But if I'm being honest, if they were actually bringing Sean, I think they would have shown him. I think they would have started with him. So this is one of those things. That's why he's 5. I don't think he's going to be in the game, because if he was, if Capcom has plans of bringing him, it'd be really weird that he's not in the starting lineup, because I think that would be the best opportunity to get to use him. But it is what it is. All right, number 4. Now, speaking of characters that we have technically sort of seen in the game, but isn't in the game yet, Dudley. Everybody and their mother who is waiting for Street Fighter 6 wants this dude to be in the game. And we have good news. He's in the game, technically. He's in a cutscene. He's doing Guile's haircut. Luke's in the background. I can't remember who's on the other side. They're from Final Fight. I can't remember their name. But yeah, no, he's a barber. He is literally one of the loading screens. He's an illustration. He's an illustration for they have the same illustration for Ken as like he's construction working, he's got a coffee in his hand or whatever. Same illustrator, but they have Guile getting his haircut done. He looks kind of like JP because his hair is completely watered and he's like it's completely down, and then like Dudley's doing his hair for him. So he is actually in the game and we know what he looks like. He's got these tattoos on his arms. He looks sick. He looks so cool. So actually I hope I don't jinx this, but he's kind of in the game already. I think it's confirmed he'll show up. They just didn't decide to bring him in the first season. But I think, if I was actually betting money, I'm not even kidding, out of this entire list, I think it's guaranteed that Dudley is going to show up in the game. I'm excited for when he does show up. I know I'm making this seem like he actually is going to show up. This would be so ironic, and I'm going to apologize if I'm wrong, but he has to be in the game. Come on, guys. He has to be in the game. He's literally in the game. Like, I can see him. So, I mean, he's going to be in 6. So, that's why in 4, he's not higher up because I kind of already know he's sort of like, I'm just kind of so confident that he's going to be in the game that I don't think he has to be higher. The need for him to be in there is not as high as others where I haven't gotten like full confirmation that they're going to be in there, right? The higher we go up this list now, the more it's like there's less evidence they're going to be in there, but I hope and pray they're going to be in the game. All right, number 3. This one, we haven't seen her, but based on the game and the fact it's based in Metro City and the environment and everything, I got Poison at number 3. Now, I would put Poison higher because there's actually less evidence for Poison to be in the game than number 2, but I want number 2 more than I want Poison. So, if that makes sense. I really want Poison to be in the game because I think she'd be cool. We've had her twice already. I'm well aware of that, so it's probably likely we might see her again. It seems like Capcom's a fan of keeping her in the game. Most people seem to really enjoy Poison too, so Capcom really doesn't have to avoid putting this character in there. So I hope she does get into the game. I think her playstyle and everything would just be sick. I think she would look cool in this Street Fighter 6 environment. Her in Metro City is really what I want. You know, like Metro City is that kind of environment, especially that stage where we're in the streets of Metro City would look so cool when you're playing as Poison. So yeah, that's number 3. There's not really much to go in there on that. I think that just makes sense. But number 2, there is more evidence that number 2 is actually going to be in the game. Kind of like with Dudley, but not as much evidence. But there's more evidence that he's going to be in the game versus Poison. And that's Cody. Cody is sick. Cody is sick. This man went from prison to being the mayor. All right. And we do see a statue. I'm pretty sure it's of Cody. I can't actually remember. I might be wrong about this. But regardless, he is the mayor anyway. So it wouldn't make sense if the game is literally based in Metro City. We walk around Metro City, all that stuff. Why is the mayor not in the game? He literally fights. He's been in the game the past 2 times. No, not 2 times. 1, he was in 5. He wasn't in 4. No, he was in 4. Actually, he was in 4. And he was in 3. Oh, no, Cody's got to be in the game. So actually, realistically, I'm surprised I didn't put Poison number 2. I just really want Cody to be in the game. I'm not going to lie. I really want Cody to be in the game. I want to see his tornadoes. I think he'd be really cool. The swagger with the suit and everything. It'd be cool if he's a little aged. You know, maybe he's got a little more of that, like, older, like, energy to him. I don't know how to explain it. You know, like it just maybe there's a little spice because it has been a few years. Especially since 5. That's actually crazy to think. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But that's number 2. Okay. Now here's the big one. This character, technically speaking, we had them. I'm not saying their gender yet. We had them, because I realized I've been messing up. I've been saying gender before I reveal the character. Okay. I'm going to look straight into the camera so you guys can understand this. We had them in the last game. All right. I know this character is not everybody's cup of tea, because anyone who likes this character, you might understand why they like the character. Anyone who doesn't like this character mostly would be because there's nothing really to them in terms of story. They don't have any significance, really. Not any significance. They have some. But it's only by relation with another character who's on the list, and that's Laura. Laura is Sean's sister, right? I know what you're thinking. First and foremost, why would Laura be in this game? Second, what makes Street Fighter 6 actually really good for Laura? Well, aside from the aesthetic, not a whole lot. But when I think about a character that, with the paint, with the like actual, I talked about grapplers, right? I talked about how I feel like grapplers will really like Street Fighter 6. Laura is a grappler. Not just that, she's Brazilian. Okay, I didn't go into Sean in that whole aesthetic. All I said was the basketball thing and his flair and the way he, carries himself would make sense. But I purposely avoid the Brazilian thing because if I'm being honest, Sean doesn't really strike me as the most patriotic Brazilian out of all the Brazilian characters. I mean, we have Blanca, and even then, he's green. And if you want to call that close to being Brazilian, I would be curious as to what you think Brazilians are like. The most Brazilian character we've ever gotten is Laura, and the only reason why I think it's really cool is because she is a grappler. She has the electricity. Yes, we already have Blanca in the game, but we had the same situation in Street Fighter V. And this is a character that we have zero evidence, and I wanted number one to be a character that, realistically, I had Laura way lower on this list, by the way. I had her at, what did I have her at? I had her at 5, I think. But then I looked at all the other characters that I mentioned previously, and I was like, you know what, there's actually some evidence and credence for them to actually be in the game. But Laura doesn't have much, and the more I thought about it, and I've talked to my friends about this, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? This character better be in the game, because I'm not gonna lie, the idea of Laura with her electricity and stuff, and then you hit with the drive, just imagine how beautiful that's gonna look. You hit with the green paint and all that stuff, just bang, and then grab you, whatever, all that stuff. It's zipping across that corner screen. If she does that special again, would be sick. So I think it just makes me more excited because there's no evidence that she would be in the game. It's very possible that Laura, out of this list, I think if you're ignoring Viper, you ignore Viper, Elena, and Hakan, she has the least likelihood of showing up in the game. So she's probably the 6th most likely character to be in the game, and that's kind of scary, but also really exciting if it happens. Because for me, I looked at the other characters. I'm not gonna lie, I went digging. Don't get me wrong. I like Makoto. I like, I'm not a big Sakura and Karin fan. I'm gonna be 100% honest, guys. I don't like the high school anime girl aesthetic. It's not for me. It's just not for me. I feel like there's so many of those characters, and I'd rather have this is gonna sound ageist, but I would rather have adults fighting each other than, and I understand they'd be older in this game, totally get it, but unless you make them way more personalized and different and accentuate them as a whole different character almost, I feel like what makes Sakura and Karin their characters is they're literally young. Sakura is a young, up-and-coming fighter. She's high-spirited, all that stuff. She's really good at fighting. She's talented, all that stuff. You know who that sounds like? Kimberly. Guess what? Kimberly has more character. She does. A hot take. Kimberly has more character than Sakura. Sorry. Karin, she's rich. You know who else was rich? Ken. Karin would be funny. Don't get me wrong. Karin would be funny. She's still rich. Ken's not rich. Haha, you're poor. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how rich people talk to each other. But she was also the young rich girl. Now she's just the rich woman. It doesn't vibe with me. And I'm not saying don't put Karin in the game. Bro, there's only 10 characters on this list. We have 18 characters in this game. I don't need every character on this list to be in the game. I don't need them. I'm just prioritizing who I would rather have, right? So for me, I put Laura up there, but like I said, number from 5, the top 5, I want the top. Well, actually, no, top 6, because Elena, I want Elena in there. Top 6, I would love for like at least half of them. I know that's at the tall order, but I mean, we literally have Dudley, Poison, and Cody. Like, if those characters are not in the game, I don't understand. Like, Poison I would get, but Dudley and Cody, you're telling me Dudley and Cody are not going to be in the game? That'd be ridiculous. I would actually rage unless they unless they have so many new characters in the works. There's no reason why those characters shouldn't be in the game. So that's my list. Again, completely subjective. It doesn't have to be that serious. But let me know down below what you would have changed, what your thoughts on the list are. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, you know what to do. All that YouTube stuff, like and subscribe. Tells me you like this kind of content, you want to see more. But with that being said, I'll catch you guys when Street Fighter comes out. I'll do a playthrough. We'll do a lot of playing around with the different characters. Go check out the other videos I've done. I've done some tier lists and all that stuff. But until then, enjoy all that content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Till then, take care, peace, and goodbye.